You're thinking about building a new home. Congratulations, it's such a great process. But you've never built a home before. You're probably wondering, how does the financing work? And what about earnest money? Today in this video, we're going to talk about all of those things and more. I'm Lisa Palladino with Focus Real Estate and the Central Park Scoop. So as mentioned in this video, we're going to talk about how financing and earnest money work on a new build home. So our brokerage focuses on the Central Park neighborhood. So primarily with new home builders, we have what's called production home builders. We have a handful of builders that will focus a little bit on semi-custom homes, but most of our builders here, they have different floor plans that the buyer would select and move forward with those different floor plans versus truly finding a dirt lot and building a custom home. So we're going to talk about that today in this video and how financing and earnest money work for production home builders, which is again just what we find here in this neighborhood. One thing to note, most builder contracts are very builder friendly, right? They're going to protect their company, but there are different clauses throughout the contract that do obviously help the buyer as well. And you don't need to know this all. We're not attorneys. We always tell our clients to seek out an attorney if you have questions on these builder contracts. But one thing that's great about our brokerage is we actually do have an attorney on our staff who has reviewed all of our different builder partner contracts, and he's always happy to review it again for you. He will email you and kind of point out things to note in the contract about financing. How does your earnest money work? Different outs along the way, different things to note along the way throughout the building process. So just keep that in mind. We're going to cover it quickly today in this video, but should you move forward with one of us with Focus Real Estate, we do have a lawyer that will review it for you. Let's start at the beginning. You want to buy a house, you need to get what's called a pre-qualification letter from a lender. Now, if you don't know a lender personally, and if you've never used one before, again, you're building your first home, as realtors, we can provide you with a list of our preferred lenders. But in regards to the pre-qualification letter, the lender's just going to check and make sure that you are qualified to purchase a home, okay? So, they'll check your credit score, check your income, things like that, and just say, this is the amount of money that would be smart for you to purchase a home. So you kind of know, as we start going out to look, I'm going to look at homes that cost around $600,000. I'm going to look at homes that cost around $800,000, okay? And as a realtor, we're going to keep you in that price range. So moving forward in the process, you've looked at the builders, you found the home you want, you've signed the contract. Congratulations. The next step is to get conditional loan approval from your lender. And typically, builders give you 30 days about. It depends on the builder, but you get 30 days to solidify this conditional loan approval, okay? And at that point, when you've signed your contract, you're also going to give them what's called earnest money, right? So even when you buy a new or a resale home, you're gonna put down money. And so this is essentially that. It's good faith money. You're moving forward in this process. And so within this 30 days, you've got your conditional loan approval, okay? It's going to give you some of your costs. You can make sure that you like what you see. And if for some reason something happens, it's kind of like you have this time to, if you lose your job, if you get sick, you could potentially back out on this contract and still get your earnest money back. But once the conditional loan approval deadline passes, again, roughly 30 days after you contract, your earnest money becomes hard, as we say, and so it could potentially be at risk should something happen later on down the road. So as realtors, we want to make sure that you understand within that time period, you are solid. You want to build this home and move forward. More financing information will come further down the road. Moving into the next phase of this process of building a new home. You've signed your contract. The 30 days with your conditional loan approval has now passed. Your home is being built. It's going vertical, as we say. At some point, your home will be drywalled, right? The drywall is installed in your house. And this is a good gauge of the timing on your home build, because at this stage, your lender will typically order your final loan approval, which is exciting, right? So that usually means that your home will be complete in about 70 to 80 days from this point. And at that point, your lender is going to ask you for a bunch more documents. You may have already supplied these documents to him a few months ago, but they might want them again for income verification, employment status, etc. They're also going to order your appraisal of your house, right, to make sure that that home value is justified. So it's a really exciting time, and you start, at some point around this time, you'll get your closing date, which is great. They'll lock in your rates, so you're going to know exactly what you're paying. So again, this all happens around drywall. So we like to call it the drywall phase. And that is your final loan approval. So hopefully that gave you an overview of building a new home and how the financing works. And so now I wanted to talk a little bit quickly about some common questions in terms of this process. Okay, so people ask, tell me a little bit more about earnest money. How much is it, right? And that really depends on the builder. It completely varies. We have seen earnest money anywhere from $1,500 all the way up to $100,000. It truly depends on which builder you pick, which home plan you pick, which lot you pick, etc. So we'll help you guide you through that when the time is right. People always ask, does the earnest money that I've put down go towards the price of my home? Of course it does. So at the closing table, it will be noted as a credit towards the price of your house, okay? Are there any other out-of-pocket expenses when I'm building a house, right? So initially, you're going to put down your earnest money. Now, this varies on the builder again, but you're going to have what's called design deposits or semi-custom upgrade deposits throughout the process. But for the most part, it's the earnest money and then your cash at closing, which is your total down payment. But again, depending on the builders, sometimes they will ask for a portion of, if you've done, when you select your tile, your carpet, whatever it might be, whatever that cost is, they might ask for a portion of that as a deposit. Or with some of the more, the higher end builders, and you're moving walls, you're doing some custom upgrading, these builders will ask for a small deposit for those pieces of work completed, okay? So those are just, and then also you will pay for an inspection of your home if you wanted to do a third-party inspection, which as realtors, guys, we highly recommend you do this, and then also your appraisal. So those are just a few more little out-of-pocket expenses that you might find along the way when you're building a new home. Last question, do I have to use the builder's lender? So we talked about lending at the beginning. No, you don't have to use the builder's lender. Sometimes builders have an in-house lender or somebody that they work with often and they trust. Every now and again, that lender might have an incentive for you to sign on with them. But right now in the current market, we're not seeing the incentives as much as we used to. So you truly can use whatever lender you want, whether you know somebody that you've worked with in the past, a family friend, or if you don't know a lender, as realtors, we will provide you with our preferred lenders. So you don't ever have to use the builder's lender unless you like them and you called them and they sound great. So lots of opportunities for that. So hopefully those questions, are answered. Hopefully I answered all those questions for you guys and was able to guide you through financing a new home, how earnest money works. It's a really fun process. We're always here to help you if you have questions. Again, Lisa Palladino with Focus Real Estate. You can call me or any of my teammates, 303-564-3734.